Hello and welcome. I'm so glad that you could join with me today. I want to start off with a little bit different. This is the reading that I pulled for myself before I dove into the cards. Every time that I begin a daily reading for the collective, I begin by reading for myself. It helps clear my mind and sometimes allows me that introspective opportunity to reflect. And then when I start pulling cards for the collective, sometimes there's a perspective there that I wouldn't have been able to offer before. So first, the Thoth deck, which has long been an object of my admiration. I've always been very intrigued by this deck. Obviously, it's a typical tarot deck in the cards themselves, but the deck comes with a lot of depth and connection to the ancient mysteries and the symbolism lying within. There's a little bit more behind these cards than in some decks, I feel. Now, one could argue that whatever deck you're called to is the most powerful deck, and I do believe that as well. That any deck can be a really fantastic tool for you. But if there's a deck that calls to you in particular, it is very helpful to kind of dig into that deck and just not assume that you know all of the intricate details behind each card. Um, I have been using the cards for over 30 years, and still, as I use the cards and pull cards each day, I learn a little bit more about the cards and their meaning behind them and in the combinations thereof. With the first card that I pulled, I actually pulled this beautiful Nine of Swords, which is cruelty. And it caused me to pause for a moment and then dig into this card because it felt as though there was some part of it that I wasn't truly understanding. And the part of it that I felt like I gained from it was that it was talking about our tendency to not just lash out to others, but to have this cycle of repeating these negative thoughts and feelings about ourselves. I am feeling very sensitive and very insecure about something that I didn't expect to occur, and it occurred. I'm getting emotional. I'm going to leave this in. I'm not cutting it out. And it was leading to me speaking about myself in a way that was cruel. If I said this about other people, I would chastise myself for being cruel. I would. What kind of shallow being would say that about another person? How dare you? Stop it. And yet, it was so easy to use these words against myself. And it's from this pattern and habit that you take away your own power. I mean, these words are spells, and I'm using these words, and I'm literally hurting myself with my own thoughts, my own limiting thoughts. I'm not allowing myself to fully embrace what it is that I'm capable of. I'm not embodying the spirit that I share with others, because as soon as I have the opportunity to, I use these energies that exist to put myself in a cage, and it hurt myself very deeply. And realizing that I was doing that was just the most powerful moment for me, to be able to say, wait a minute, would I say that to somebody that I love? Would I say that to somebody that I care about? Then why would I say it to myself? And it just was so powerful. I just felt like this is a message that I need to share with everyone else, that we have to speak of ourselves, even internally. This internal speech has to be as kind as you would speak to a small child. If you would not say something cruel about a small child, why would you speak it to yourself? Why would you even think it about yourself? Especially when it's one of these things that diminishes how great you really are. The thing that I'm torturing myself about does not make me any less of a person. It's not who I am. It's not how I treat people. It's not how I behave. It's no reflection of myself from my heart or from my mind or from my spirit. It was just a pattern of making statements so that I could become desensitized to them before anyone else had a chance to use them against me. And I think if you come from a place where you were highly criticized from your family, or you were picked on for being different, or maybe you thought of yourself as an ugly duckling with just terrible self talk, you have this tendency to make even jokes about yourself. You mock yourself in an effort to make things feel less painful so that you don't have to experience the pain as at the behest of other people. Well, therefore I've done it to myself, so now you can't hurt me. But it does hurt you. It is absolutely painful, and it was only that I had continued to use this practice. This card comes up and says, it's not just about how you treat other people. It's how you're talking about yourself. That made it so profound for me. The Six of Pentacles coming up here, or discs in this deck, to remind us that there are many ways of feeling successful. Some of you have experienced a financial or resource opportunity or windfall that has benefited you greatly. And with others, we are taking the time, our energy, our compassion, our love, and sharing it with others purely from the generosity of our hearts. And it's with this energy that we become more powerful, because it is this energy that I put out to the universe that the universe delivers back to me. So, this reminder that not only do I have the ability to destroy myself with my own words, I have the ability to build up others with my words as well. And with this, building myself back up, reminding myself who I really am and how beautiful I am just for my spirit and not for the actual material things that I necessarily have to offer. But even if I do have these material things to offer, my generosity and willingness to give to others, but sharing in the healing experience. And with that, we take this Queen of Wands. She's full of fire. She's been through it. She's been through all of the flames and the difficulties and the struggles, and yet she is the alchemist. She takes all of this energy and creates what she wants to create with it. Her power is unmatched when she focuses this energy for good or for bad. She's the alchemist. So these cards were really powerful for me today. And additionally, I just received, this is a deck that I've just started working with, the Egyptian Gods Oracle deck. And to add more fuel to the flames, we received this one, Heka, Alchemical Force, taking the energy and experiences to us that we are receiving, and through force of determination and will and power, we are creating life exactly the way we desire it to be. If you're interested more in this deck, I'll do some more pulls. Let me know what you think about this. I would highly encourage you to check out new decks when you have the opportunity. It was very enlightening for me. I think we have everything we need here. I was going to pull from another deck, but I love these two together. Karmic relationships are Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, a little bit of conflict, and a double mission. Light worker, star seed, serve the world by being you. Pulling deep from within the self to share my healing journey with others, to facilitate your healing journey from within on your own terms, on your own path. The real struggle with growth, the real aspects that become apparent are in the shadows. These are the things that we don't want to look at, that are painful to look at, that cause us to feel feelings that we thought that we weren't going to have anymore. No, I'm not going to feel that way anymore. You can't hurt me. You can't do that. But it is when we're faced with these feelings, and it does dig into that wound, that we are most capable of really examining what is here. And once we break that down, and we break it into its components, when we feel conflict from another person, when we feel resistance from other people, it's then that we're able to examine the wounds that we ourselves are carrying so that we can dig in even deeper. When we allow ourselves to do this, it allows us to connect more deeply with others. Maybe in that moment, you're not able to connect with that individual because you're processing that. But so often, after I've had time to reflect, doing the shadow work, thinking, why did that bother me? Why did that hurt my feelings? Why was I offended by that? What caused that reaction today? A reaction, a simple one in the grocery store. Two people just completely blocking the aisle. Just, and instantly my reaction is, they're so rude. They're so inconsiderate. Like, why did that bother me? Well, was it because I didn't feel seen? Because I didn't feel as though I was being treated as an equal? That's why I felt that way ultimately, but they don't have any opinions about me as a person. They were simply in their own worlds, doing their own thing, not realizing that they were both on opposite sides of the aisle, completely blocking that pathway. It was me thinking too much about what other people were thinking, which pulls back into that self talk thing that forced me to step back and realize that it was not anything that these people were doing to irritate me. They were simply dealing with their own lives. And a lot of us find ourselves in these experiences where we're just dealing with our own lives, we're just minding our own business. And other people are going to have impressions of what's happening there. And that is going to be a reflection of the difficulties and the pain that they are dealing with. My irritation was not at these people. These people did not even notice me. They do not care about me. It's irrelevant to them. To me, I was responding to a deeper wound of feeling disrespected, feeling unheard, feeling unappreciated by people that I felt should have noticed me and should have cared. That was a reflection from me personally. It had nothing to do with them. And so from this, I was able to kind of take that irritation, that frustration, and dig a little bit deeper into my own healing. Why did I feel unheard or unseen? What made me think that these strangers were trying to block me? And there is a lot to dig into that, and it's going to be a personal journey for me to uncover more of that. But I just wanted to pose those questions for others as well. And this double mission, Lightworker Starseed, serving the world by being you. Through this reading today, it has come very clear to me that the gifts that I offer the world is nothing more than sharing my own personal healing journey. As I said to someone just yesterday, they said, "Well, I want to learn from you." I feel like I can heal from learning from you, and then I can help heal others. And my response was that all I'm doing is healing out loud, and I cannot facilitate another person's healing. I can only add insight and clarity and light the way for another individual who feels connected to this path, for them to start embarking upon their healing journey as well. As much as we love to call ourselves healers, and I do consider myself in some way a healer, I also understand that there's nothing that I personally do to other people without their welcoming of that. And therefore, it puts the power back in their hands. It's actually them that choose to receive this energy, that choose to hear these messages and choose to utilize them in the way that it benefits them on their own healing journey. So really, the gift that I have is sharing my experiences and sharing my insight and sharing my voice so that others can see a pathway for themselves. Maybe they don't want to speak out loud about that pathway. Maybe that's a private journey for them. Or maybe it is just for right now, and later they're going to also share, and then they are, in effect, healers themselves and healing other people because they light the way in a way that connects with other souls on this journey as well. So just sharing that insight with others who may feel that way, that there's no such thing as healing other people. We're all healing ourselves. And it's through sharing of our journey and connecting with each other that we're able to see this clarity and see these connections. So we have balance and change. I bring a state of perfect harmony into my world, and I do so without judgment. In being able to recognize where things are out of balance, we often turn it into a type of criticism against the self. I'm a workaholic. I don't work hard enough. I'm not focused enough. I need to try harder. I need to do this. I need to do that. I'm not enough here. I'm not enough there. I feel like these statements add weight to that imbalance more than it's easy to initially recognize. By saying something like I'm a workaholic, I'm adding this heaviness to a period of my life where I had no choice but to focus on financial resources. And so I committed and I was determined and I put as much time as I was feeling comfortable and able to do during that period of life. There's also been times where I was able to comfortably give myself space and give myself time to enjoy my life and take time to do nothing, take time to create art, take time to sit in the backyard and listen to the birds while I sip my coffee. When I acknowledge this without critiquing myself and using words like a workaholic or I'm being lazy, I've actually welcomed a more authentic state of balance into my life. Because it's not so much a day to day or an hour to hour or a moment to moment thing. There's just simply going to be periods where you are choosing to be focused and committed on something that makes you feel better, it makes your life easier, it feels like the right thing to do. And there's going to be times when you need your rest and you need to recuperate and you need to spend time doing what gives you joy. And you need to be able to do that without feeding that opposite energy of I'm not doing anything or I'm lazy into it. I'm actually creating a real authentic sense of balance when I just don't apply labels to these periods of my life. It comes and goes in waves, and it's something that I just need to accept, that these are the periods where at times I feel really good spending a lot of time on my work. It doesn't feel like I'm out of balance. It feels like the right thing to do. So I don't need to criticize myself for that. And on that same note, when it's time for me to take a break, when it's time for me to rest and rejuvenate, I don't need to have an opinion about that. I just need to accept that this is what time it is. And with this ebb and flow that I allow more authentically without carrying any opinions about it, I'm actually finding myself feeling a lot more harmonious with myself. I feel more in tune with myself. I feel like it's more natural rather than trying to force a state of rest or force a state of creativity or force a state of productiveness. It happens much more naturally. I go through my periods where I'm feeling very productive, and on the days that I'm not feeling productive, I just allow that and I feel fine about that. Inevitably, as I feel satisfied with that period of time, leads back up into a period of productivity. I didn't need to force it. I didn't need to criticize myself in order for that to happen. And I think when we criticize that, when we put labels on these periods, we're kind of taking away our natural ability to do this by trusting ourselves, trusting our feelings, trusting our instincts. Allow the signs of your mind and your body to speak to you, and this will give you a stronger sense of being in harmony and being in balance with the self than anything that you could force or committing to rest or something along those lines. With this change card, I feel there is going to be these times where we do feel necessary to do something different. And with this, again, the balance is here that it can feel stagnant to continue in the same patterns and habits that aren't necessarily serving us right now. They may have served you in the past. They may have been something that was beneficial and work, or it may have been just the natural flow of things at the time. But it feels as though you're inhibiting a little bit of these changes from occurring instead of just trusting what feels right. It's time for me to rest, or trusting that it's time for you to put yourself out there and strongly pursue your goals and dreams. But also, I'm feeling very strongly that there's a shift in how you want to do this, and you feeling a little bit too self conscious about how you want to implement this. There's too much emphasis on what people think about what you're doing, or what you think people will say about what you're doing, or in general what society as a whole may have told us is natural. And perspective creates a great space for introspection, taking in another perspective, seeing, you're seeing other people and you're seeing other ways, not even necessarily in other people. Maybe somebody is an example of this for you, but you're, in your mind's eye, you're creating these authentic pathways for yourself, and then sitting there and overthinking it. And I think it's necessary and natural for us to shift into different levels of the self, and it's not necessarily a straight arrow in one direction. We may do some backtracking. I've done some backtracking where I've thought this is definitely the path of my healing and I feel really, really good about this and everything felt fantastic. And then there was a period where it just didn't. It didn't feel right anymore. And while I absolutely am grateful for that time because it allotted me some perspective, it put my mind back in a place where I was healing some wounds that I hadn't had an opportunity to heal, that I was unaware of. It restored a sense of balance in my life. It gave me an opportunity to get out of the stagnant place. And then, as a result of me having time to reflect upon this period, I brought myself back here and I went on a different trajectory instead. And that new trajectory, I feel like, was more natural. It feels like the equilibrium I was seeking, and I didn't have to force it, but I also had to stop trying to make things happen that didn't feel authentic. So with this change and with this balance, what we're finding is that there's going to be some times that you back up, you backtrack, go about it a different way if it feels right for you, and nobody else is going to be able to understand this path except you. So these outside perceptions, they don't matter. What matters is how we're speaking to ourselves about this, and without criticizing ourselves for these choices, without saying, "Oh, I should have did it this way." No, I shouldn't have done it this way. I was doing it right. I was doing what I needed to do in that moment. And then I needed to do it a different way. And so now I'm doing it a different way, and that feels right. And I'm not going to be angry at myself for that. I'm going to say, "Hey, you did a good job." And way to listen to your body and your intuition, and know what you needed, because now you feel much better about it. Now you feel so much more in tune with yourself. Thank you for joining with me today. I appreciate all of the support. I love hearing from you. And if you're looking for more personalized guidance, I'm more than happy to do that. Take care.